Good morning, guys. How are we all doing? So Dan from Trading with Dan here. This is our Bitcoin morning update. If you guys wouldn't mind smashing that like button, and we will go straight over to those charts. So Bitcoin just still in this tightening range, tightening ever smaller and smaller tightening range. We obviously came down and tested the bottom. We got supported by the trend line, which was good to see, because we're at a point where if we break out from one of these, either this trend line, this horizontal, then we're probably going to be breaking down. Obviously same to the upside, but yesterday we were clearly coming to test the bottom, so we can't break out of the top side whilst we're testing the bottom side, and similarly we can't break out the top side when we are testing the bottom side, obviously. But it is good to see we've been supported by it, and we are trying to get back above this resistance zone. Resistance at the moment, could call it support. We went below and we're getting supported by it, but either way, just this zone. This goes without saying, but it just flips between support and resistance depending on where we're at. So so if we can get back above here, then that would look particularly good, because markets did take a beating yesterday, traditional markets, and I did point out in last night's video that we had a 2.6% move down in stocks, wasn't it? And it was a 2.6% move down in Bitcoin, and obviously normally we would expect a bigger move, a lot bigger move percentage wise from Bitcoin than stocks. So we didn't get that, so that is indicative of strength in Bitcoin. But I will obviously caveat that with the fact that while stock markets had been pushing up, i.e. the day before Monday, Bitcoin hadn't really been moving up that much. So yeah, I mean, that's just testament to the tightening range that we're in, and the indecision on both sides as to where we're going to go. So let's have a look at the stocks. So yesterday's video, I basically said, well, I've got this move down. At the very least, we usually expect once we've found a bottom of the move, we'd expect to move to the midpoint. And it's just, you see it again and again, and I obviously will keep telling you guys this again and again. But yeah, you get a move to the midpoint, and then the market decides whether do we want to take out that midpoint, in which case we'll usually go all the way back up and then some more, or do we get rejected at that point and come down? But the main thing is that we usually get a midpoint test. So I mean, if you kind of look at this, we're just going to look at this one first. So we have this big move up, we then got roughly the midpoint test, and we decided we were going to get hold it, so then we moved back up. So we had this move back up, obviously then this move back down, back to the same level, and I mean, we have this whole move up here. You could almost look at this as almost the midpoint test, but obviously overshot it a bit, and now we've moved back up to this midpoint. I mean, you just see it quite a lot. We've got this move down here, we roughly get back up to about the midpoint before we get continuation down. We had this whole move down here, we then move back to, and it's just kind of how markets move around. So it's definitely something to watch out for. You'll get the big move either up or down, or even just a prolonged move, not necessarily on one candle, and then when it's topped out, I mean, this one is on a 4-hour 9, you will often see you come back to the midpoint, and then you make a decision. Then the market makes a decision: do we carry on upwards or do we come down? So we're clearly at that decision point now, as you can see on these S&P futures, pretty much that midpoint at our most important horizontal that we've had obviously drawn in from here. We've had drawn in thicker. Basically, we've had a thicker line for this one than the others, because just because it's just that high from previous. So that again, I have been saying for a while, that is the important point to get back above and hold. We were looking good when we got back above before, but obviously President Trump came out with his basically negotiation tactics. It's brinkmanship. And clearly he is going to have to, he's going to have to either reverse that, which is going to put markets, or he isn't, and he's not going to get elected, and then we're going to end up with Biden, and we're going to end up with even more pumping of stimulus. But that will be there will be a tug of war If we get a Biden presidency and they control obviously the House and maybe even the Senate, but I don't know about that, then we could end up with all sorts of things that could be bearish for the dollar, but also not too great for the stock market. So we'll have opposing forces on the stock market, because he does want to basically tax the SH1T out of everything. So that could literally have a downward effect on the stock market, whilst always also having a downward effect on dollar. But that won't affect gold and silver and Bitcoin markets and other commodities that are priced in dollars, i.e. inflation, will increase, and in which point, yeah, things will look good for what we are doing, if not for stock investors. So yeah, something to be aware of. Let's have a look at that old DXY. Well, would you look at that? Just the levels, guys. It's just a game of levels. We come down to this level, we rally back up to that level, we reject from that level. Well, we come down to the trend line at the moment. But yeah, and then if we lose this trend line, I think we'll be coming back down to this level, and then we'll play the game of, can we break it this time, or do we have another bounce off it? Do we play in this range? That was one of my alternatives, was, well, we either come straight down, but I was obviously noting the fact we're coming down pretty hard, so we did have to have a bit of potential sideways here. But obviously I wasn't expecting quite that amount of sideways, but then we just had obviously President Dump come in. Obviously he's, well, President Dump for stock markets, but President Pump for the dollar, as it seems. But yeah, so yeah, realistically, I feel like another thing about trading, just trading news events, and just events that put the market like this or dump the market. They things like that are not. I mean, the market has a lot of forces acting upon it, and whilst any particularly influential basically person, force, whatever statement can definitely have a big short-term impact on markets, you often find that move is usually faded. We did have it a lot with Jerome Powell, where he would basically dump the markets, and all you do is buy them back up again. And that worked. That basically, there were loads of trades like that. So we possibly getting one of those anywhere where we will just fully retrace. At the end of the day, there is going to be stimulus. It's just a matter of timing, and the timing isn't like months and months, is it? Because like clearly there will be, well, clearly if they delay the timing, the risk, like I keep saying, is for an even greater amount of stimulus. So if you're then going to price that into asset markets and dollar weakness, then I mean, the longer they leave it, actually the better it is for those risk assets anyway, because we are going to basically get more of it. And these are just competing tug of war dynamics. Bitcoin dominance, yeah, I mean, as you can see, Bitcoin dominance is looking constructive. If it was going to turn around, we'll just have a look at the daily. If it was going to turn around, this is the sort of move that would start that turnaround. You can kind of see in the context of this daily chart, we are getting a pretty vicious move up. I mean, obviously this could start to turn around at any point. Obviously a lot of these moves up did turn around, but yeah, I mean, we could clearly see upside, and this is obviously a big target up here, which we've not quite got up to yet. So yeah, that's Bitcoin dominance. Let's have a look how our good friends gold and silver are doing. Let's go to the 4 hour. Yeah, obviously we dropped out the wedge. Again, midpoint retest of this move down. So are we going to continue upwards, or are we going to, or are we just going to get rejected and come down? That we're at decision point. That was the easy trade. Once we started to obviously put in a green candle to buy, that was the easy trade, and we are now at the point where it's well, it's just it's a proverbial, no, well, it's not proverbial coin toss. You could literally toss a coin and decide a direction, but yeah, it is a yeah, we just got to decide. Gold looked like it did reach its midpoint and did already reject, so I'm guessing the gold silver ratio basically has obviously come down a little bit, as you can see. This is a major area here. So if the gold silver ratio is going to go constructive, well, going to go bullish, this is relatively constructive price action here for it. So we either need to get rejected and here will come down, or obviously we're going to break this and start to move up, which would usually happen if gold and silver are going down. And again, I don't think that is a likely scenario, so therefore I don't think this going up is the likely scenario. but we'll keep an eye on that. Oil, I mean, I literally said on Sunday's video that when we were down here, incidentally, guys, on a 4-hour 9, look at that, great trade. And we obviously then got held up into that 4-hour 9, and then we broke back above it. But yeah, oil, they needed to do oil. Well, I say they, I mean that's a weird statement, isn't it? They needed to do something about oil, but oil needed to turn back up to help these markets go back up. And what, boy did it turn up. Boy did it turn up. So let's have a look. Right, I mean we'll do it from roughly there to where we got up to. We'll do it roughly there. It's nearly a 10% move. 10% move, guys, in basically 2 days. Well, it's basically, well, 1.5 days, you could probably call it. But yeah, insane. Crazy move. Crazy, just crazy move. But yeah, they bid it all the way back up. Like, just well done. Well done. However, whoever managed to do that, however you managed to do that, whatever happened, whatever dynamics came into play there, well done. But yeah, and yeah, so I literally was saying oil's got to get back towards 40, and I mean it did. So we've got this level here in oil that we've got drawn in, and yeah, if we take that out, then we're looking back up to the highs again. So we'll just put a little trend line up in here. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, that'll do. Oh, here we go. We'll draw it. We have to draw it in. I didn't put the actual horizontal line. I did click trend line, didn't I? But yeah, that'll do. So then we've got that target. Take out that target. Just yeah, when moon. But yeah, so yeah, nice move up in oil there. Obviously helping markets. So yeah, back over to Bitcoin. We'll have a look at stochastics. We're not really looking at TD because we're in too much of a tightening range here. But we'll have a look at stochastics. 4-hour coming quite low, so obviously got the potential to turn back up. Already starting to kink that way. Yeah, 10-hour starting to turn back down again. 12-hour starting to turn back down again. I mean, this is basically what is going on. We are just tightening in a non-NC of a range, so I wouldn't read even too much into these 10-hour and 12-hour, which we haven't been for a while. Since we've been in this tightening range. 2-day moving up, but pretty much stalling out. 3-day doing, yeah. I mean, they're all basically not too helpful, not too helpful, because price action is just in a tightening range, and we are just waiting for a breakout in a direction, and the stochastics then will just be dragged towards that direction rather than the stochastics themselves drag us to break out in a particular direction. So yeah, big day today. I say this a lot, don't I? Big day. It's always big days in these markets at the moment. Big day today. Stocks get back above here? Can get stocks back above 3,400 and start to move back up? In which case, yeah, in which case I think the market will see that as very bullish, and we'll probably squeeze out a lot of the bears. Over to DXY. Important day for DXY. Can we keep coming down here, or we're going to get supported at this trend line? Not, yeah, I mean, it's not the most important trend. I would be looking more at the horizontals. As you guys know, I much prefer horizontals. But yeah, I'll be looking at as trying to get back down to this horizontal, in which case maybe another small bounce there, and we will, the odds are we will break through it. But if we bounce here, come back to this high, break back above here, all bets are off, going to 97, and yeah, we're done. But anyway, we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Like I said, important day, guys. Important day. So yeah, there we go, guys. Thank you for listening. Remember, this is not a financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Always do your own research, and I will speak to you guys later on today.